Testing. Testing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are going to check out this lovely Destiny 2 Edge of Fate developer live stream. My apologies for me being a little bit behind. Been enjoying life with Lady Soldier. Okay, we've been going to the pool. We're working out, we're working hard, but also we're going through a massive heat wave. So yesterday we had plans after work, and then when we got home, it was just way too hot. I didn't feel like getting over here with y'all on the live, so my apologies. But we're going to get caught up. We're going to check out this developer live stream right now. I've seen some people talking about it on Twitter. Doesn't sound like they have a lot of good things to say about it, but let's see what they got here. Let's just see for ourselves. I might not watch all of this. Because I'm going to be real. This DLC, I'm not that excited for it, but I am going to get it. I am kind of curious, you know, and we'll see what it's about. But again, it ain't like, I don't know. Still fighting the same enemy.
So
and there's no new
touched by the
subclass.
Nine, concealing a lot of secrets and danger. And it's somewhere that human scientists traveled to a long time ago to research a dormant singularity. While living on Kepler, not only did they observe the collapse, they survived it. And over time, the ideals of the scientific process they held to were enshrined in their culture, and they came to be known as the Ionians.
The Ionians.
The Elixir House of Exile arrived during the Dark Age, weary from the Long Drift. They didn't invade Earth with the other Elixir houses. Instead, they sought a new home, which they found alongside the
Why are we always fighting these same enemies?
But the dark matter that permeates Kepler and that they converted into the ether they need to survive ended up being toxic. So when the Ionians failed to cure them, the house rose up under an Archon, claiming to be blessed with prophetic sight. Now, the House of Exile is full of zealots.
Like the Archon priest.
And they'll stand opposed to the Guardian as they walk the winding pathways of Kepler, learning more about what called them there in the first place. Guardian's paracausal power acts as a catalyst for the normally corrosive force of dark matter. These new powers will allow them to unlock long sealed passageways for the Ionians as they make their way to the singularity.
That only affects this planet, right?
So from the start, we focused on building Kepler as more of a dungeon-like destination. It expands on the interconnected world design of places like the Leviathan or the Shattered Throne.
As you fight your way across Kepler, you tap into dark matter abilities and unlock enemy tech that expands your navigation and aids you in combat. These are all about going places you would normally think are out of reach.
Matterspark has you turn into this wild ball of arc energy. It's like nothing we've done in Destiny before.
I'm just not interested in that.
The Mattermorph ability lets you twist objects in the world around you.
With Relocator, you've essentially co-opted the Fallen's teleportation networks and can use it to cross gaps you wouldn't have even considered before.
Oh god, that's gonna be annoying.
Small tells, an open vent, a broken window, things you want to remember because you might be revisiting them later.
Abilities can be upgraded, so as you unlock new perks, you can chain them into your build crafting in clever ways.
Okay.
By far, the most game-changing is one of Matterspark's upgrades.
Wait.
On Kepler,
I'm sorry, what was that?
Upgraded, so as you
want to remember because you might be revisiting them later.
Abilities can be upgraded, so as you unlock new perks, you...
Okay, yeah, these are the abilities that take place only on this planet, not our abilities that we can take anywhere else. So yeah, this stuff only happens on Kepler. Yeah, access Matterspark Shark across Kepler. Yeah, it's Kepler. It can only be done at Kepler.
By far, the most game-changing is one of Matterspark's upgrades. On Kepler, it lets you turn into Matterspark the same way you summon a sparrow, wherever and whenever. It will optimize not only exploration, but also combat on future playthroughs in super creative ways. There are tons of cool combinations. You can suspend an enemy with Mattermorph, bend a path up toward the sky, and then in mid-air, leap into Matter Spark to dash across the arena and arc chain a group of enemies.
The team has already seen players pairing abilities with different exotic perks and aspects to create some really crazy builds.
We know this is only the beginning and can't wait to see what happens once players get their hands on this kit.
The hunter always be leaning like that, man.
All right. Hello, welcome to Bungie, and welcome to our Destiny 2 Edge of Fate live stream. This will be the first live stream that we have leading into launch. Big shout out to the folks that we had on our Dev Insight video. We were just talking about Kepler, destination abilities, some of the secrets of Kepler and the Aeonians, but we're going to leave that for a later date for you to discover. Today we're going to be talking a bunch about Sandbox. We have a bunch of core feature updates with Armor 3.0, gear tiering, some new loot for you to grind out, and a bunch of cool things to show. So without further ado, let's get to it. We have a wonderful panel of developers on our couch. Some of them are new, some of them you've seen before. But yeah, let's start out with Eric. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for asking, Dylan.
Yeah. For folks that maybe haven't seen you on a previous live stream where you've talked about burst weapons and all the cool ability stuff, who are you? What do you do?
Sure. I'm Eric Smith, gameplay lead on Destiny 2, and I'm excited to dive into our sandbox changes.
Awesome. Vivian, hello, hello. Welcome to the live stream format. We've seen you on Vidocs from time to time, but yeah, for folks that haven't met you, seen you on our Vidocs. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm Vivian Bex. I'm a sandbox designer on Destiny. I get the privilege of making like a lot of the toys that players get to use, you know, like weapons and stuff. Recently, I've kind of been all over the sandbox team, and I have some very exciting stuff to show today. I'm really excited.
Man. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. And last but not least, end of the couch, Bjorn. Taylor Bjorndal. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be
Who
here.
are you? What do you do here, buddy?
Taylor Bjorndal, associate weapons designer, sandbox designer. I've also bounced around and done a lot of stuff.
Normal person.
To talk about all of the million things we changed.
Yeah,
Wait a second. Am I seeing?
Last time we had you on the couch, we were talking grid skipper rolls and things like that.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah.
Am I seeing? Oh my god.
Creators are.
Oh my god. I did not mean to do that. My apologies. I did not mean to click that. I was curious because I saw. Did they stick fucking pronouns at the?
I'm really excited.
Man. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. And last but not least, end of the couch, Bjorn. Taylor Bjorndal.
Bjorn.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be
Who
here.
are you? What do you do here, buddy?
Who are you?
Taylor Bjorndal, associate weapons designer.
They do have the pronouns. Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Sandbox designer. I've also bounced around and done a lot of stuff. Excited to talk about all of the million things we changed.
Yeah, right. I think the last time we had you on the couch, we were talking grid skipper rolls and things like that.
Yeah, it's been a
Isn't
bit.
it Trials of Osiris?
Yeah. So
the
as we're
Trials
diving
Eye on
into
his
this, we
arm?
have quite a bit to go through in the show. And to start, we're actually going to be in the shooting range. We're going to have our gameplay specialist going through, showing you some of the new weapons, some of the new ability or exotics that are going to be coming. But this will be playing in the background. You'll see them tuning a couple different enemies, playing around, damage types, that kind of stuff. To start with our panel, though, let's talk Armor 3.0. Eric, if we can talk about like where did we start with ammo? Where was it back in the day? Where are we going? What's the high-level vision for our changes?
Yeah, so when Destiny 2 launched, we had armor in the game, but there were 3 stats. There were no mods available. And then with Shadowkeep, we hit Armor 2.0, where we added 3 additional stats for a total of 6.
Yeah.
And armor mods as well. And this is the next evolution for the new saga of Destiny 2. In Armor 3.0, we are adding, or we're reworking the stats. We're adding set bonuses, and we are adding gear tiers as well.
Yeah.
And the kind of the goals with Armor 3.0.
I think I'm starting to reach my limit with all of these. You want to change everything, and then there's a new system, and you want to change everything, and then there's a new system, and then there's a new system, and then we're going to keep adding shit. There's a new system. How many menus am I going to have to be sorting through to know what the frick we're doing here? I'm sorry. I don't like, none of this sounds fun to me at all. Like, more systems. Okay, more systems. What about the gameplay? What about the experience, man? Like, what about the guns? I don't care about how to interact with Kepler. What are you doing about the rest of Destiny?
So
there's still a lot of show left, but so far this is not a good start for me.
One, we want to make armor more exciting.
This is not a good start.
When's the last time?
Not a good start. I'm actually not feeling good about this.
You saw
I'm seeing why there's criticism about this show.
Purple armor dropped, and you were thrilled to go pick it up and see what was inside. And then we want to rework the stats to make sure no stat is left behind, no stat feels mandatory, and give you further depth of build crafting in your armor roles, essentially.
Yeah, and then an underlying goal as well that I've seen you execute upon in the team really is approachability. There are a lot of new UI tools where you're hovering over perks, stats, all that kind of stuff. You're seeing actual
He literally just said there's a whole bunch of new UI tools. So this interface is about to be more clusterfuck than ever.
Percentages, you're seeing more full descriptions for things, helping newer players or returning players get reacquainted with the sandbox of Destiny.
Yeah, in this release and in...
I hate that shit. The whole bubble thing. I hate champions. I think champions was one of the worst kinds of enemies they've ever added to this game.
Coming releases, we are absolutely focusing on making the game easier to digest and understand what's going on. And this, looking at the shooting range here, is a great example of this, like where I can just go and see how much damage I'm doing, and test out my weapons, test out these builds, and see the actual changes that my new armor and whatnot is giving me.
Yeah, and you can load in here with a full fire team of 6 if you want to check out raid boss damage, or just come in here by yourself if you're on Discord talking to friends, shooting the stuff. So let's really quick talk about stats. This is one of the major overhauls. A couple things are leaving, a couple things are being added. Really quick, if you could get a quick scroll through some of the stats, go ahead and give us.
Yeah, so we've removed some stats. We've removed resilience. We've removed recovery.
And mobility.
Yes, and mobility. So instead,
why'd you remove mobility?
Top, we got health, then we have melee and grenade.
See, yeah, like I said, there's too many changes. I hope the stuff that they're giving us is going to be good enough and making it fun enough. But here's my concern, is that slowly throughout the years, they've been replacing good shit with worse shit. There has been quite a few improvements, don't get me wrong, but I just don't like hearing about all this stuff, man. I don't know. I don't feel good about any of this, if I'm being honest. I've been honest
and then our
the whole time.
Stat. So
I think
this is an entirely new suite of stats, does different things.
I like this.
Now, instead of going...
I do like this menu, seeing this right here, seeing the actual percentages of, like, in theater in real time. What is this really going to do for me? I like that.
Going to 100, they go to 200. So once you go above 100, you get an additional benefit put on top of
that's a 24%
100 benefit.
Increased chance.
And these,
chance of
on the ability side,
whatever.
We are giving you kind of your uptime and how much energy you're getting in the 0 to 100 range. And then the 100 to 200 range, we're increasing things like damage, things like survivability, which is somewhere we've never really, gone into. And it's going to really give players more tools to customize their build, kind of pinpoint single, like, I'm going to be this badass grenade thrower that's just doing shit tons of grenade damage, or I could be more defensive or more weapon focused and all of this, right?
What is that weapon?
We haven't had like a weapon stat before, and it's sometimes been you'd have to like hook into the artifact to make like a true weapons build.
Forgot that thing was here. I forgot they were here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we saw some questions specifically about the weapon stat and
it's not
PvP.
very nice.
I know y'all have been balancing in the PvP, making sure this is kind of like cherry on top. It doesn't change the time to kill too much, but it's kind of like a cost balancing factor, right? If you want that extra damage, you lose out on grenades, things like that.
Sure, yeah. So if you want to go all in on weapons, like, your weapons are going to be more potent than they were before, but it's at the expense of your other abilities and that sort of thing. So we have done extensive testing to make sure we're not breaking PvP. That said, in the first day that this comes out, the amount of hours being put into this by genius members of the community is going to dwarf what we've done. So it's a little bit scary how much change we've actually put in this. The team's worked so hard across the entire game. Everything you hear today it's not apples to apples with the pre-Edge of Fate numbers and feel of the game. It really across the game we have just changed so much.
It's very different. It's not really easy to compare the experience of what's going to be in the next release to what people are playing right now.
But at the same time, it still feels like Destiny.
Yeah, it's that
like,
quintessential feel of I got my gun, I have my abilities, but now it's how much agency do I have in leaning into some of these things and embracing like a role-playing mechanic.
Yep.
And one of the cool things is like internally, I think the most common thing we say on like our sandbox channel now has just like emerged as, man, I can't wait for 900.
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep interrupting because this is part of the reaction. You guys kept asking me for this. Why are we only looking at them at the shooting range right now instead of them showing us more gameplay of the new shit? You should be, we need to be seeing a mission being done on Kepler. I need to be seeing a strike or something. I need to be seeing the new guns in action, killing enemies in the wild. Not this. This is boring. And on top of that, listening to these guys talk is also very boring. They are not doing a good job at this. Don't you guys remember the Vidocs, right? They need to bring the Vidocs back. This is horrible so far, man. God. Still got another 30-something minutes left. Gee, many Christmas. I feel like I'm losing an inch or two off of me. Just by, I don't know, man. Oh, wee. Between the puzzles and all this, I don't know, man.
The sandbox is really exciting. There's a lot of
It's
really
not for me.
specific builds you can do. Like if you want to be the melee guy, you can be the melee guy more than ever before, right? And it's I think we're going to see some really crazy stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of embracing some of these different lanes, we actually have 3 new exotics coming with the Edge of Fate. Each class is going to get 1 new exotic. Each embrace a different sort of vibe or theme. And yeah, you can see them on screen. I think first we're going to start with the Warlock exotic. And Bjorndal, you have all the details.
Sure. Yeah, so first we have Yunoya, which is Warlock exotic themed around the Hellion aspect. What this does is after your Hellion fires, after a certain amount of time, the projectile is going to shatter into a bunch of submunitions that will like seek nearby units and scorch them. And so it kind of like adds a little bit of like skill play to something that was kind of more of a passive aspect in the past.
Yeah, and I think in the shooting range we can see like it can be both a single target or a group sort of.
It's like an arc soul, but like a flame soul.
It can kind of serve multiple roles, just kind of like amping up something that was like a trusty old tool to be something a little more that you have to like manually aim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can like, because it like splits.
Oh, they let you go over that.
Like control your spacing to like control the grouping of it. If you want to hit one target, you know, if you're at the right distance, you'll hit all 5. Yeah, and they'll like burst way earlier than before. Or if you like get way back, you can just blanket a region.
Love it. Yeah, and we can see on the screen too, like some of the looks of the exotic and the hell.
It also bothers me that they have done nothing with Gambit. Now Gambit is going on a supposed hiatus. Like,
have changed.
Yeah, so like while you're using the exotic, the Hellion itself, like the little solar buddy, will have the same X that the gauntlets do. So it's like a nice little nod to like match the exotic.
Love it.
This thing looks so metal. I'm like so about having that big gas canister on my arm. Having that like flamethrower warlock arm is so cool. I may have to start switching play warlock.
Love it. Next up, I believe we have Hunter on docket.
Yeah, so the Hunter exotic is Morai, which is a strand-themed exotic that's about your threaded spike and tangles, where you can basically like yo-yo a tangle from out in the field back in your hand and then throw it again. So the way this works is if you have a tangle out in the field, you throw your strand Hunter melee at it, it'll pop the tangle and then bring one back to you that if you catch the spike, you'll get another tangle. So you can like duplicate a tangle, which works really well with a lot of Strand Hunter aspects like Whirling Maelstrom and just like the existing tie-in with like grappling to a tangle.
Oh
so
boy.
You get like even more mobility and a lot of like add clear potential. And also it will return more energy when you catch it as well. So like even if you don't hit anything or you don't grab a tangle. So
this is killing me. Oh my god. I'm actually beginning to wish I didn't. I should have just watched this off stream. This is killing me.
It helps you keep that engine going.
Yeah, you can see the strand energy attached to the threaded spike. So if you grab that, I love how we're rewarding that.
That looks cool.
Perfect grab.
Yeah.
You can already hear people yelling "spin to win" as they're spanning these things, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can have 3 Beyblades out in the field at any time, essentially. It's
And you're like
Did
zipping
he say
between the
Beyblade?
tangles with grapple. It's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's very strong. It's also going to be very strong with this artifact.
Oh, yeah.
So they
Something
so they
we'll
nerf
talk
it.
about, but
They're gonna nerf
another
it
cool
eventually.
tidbit about this is
It'll be nerfed by Thanksgiving.
The threaded spike will bounce
Halloween.
to the tangle from enemies as well.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's something that has a lot of easy use and really rewards skill at the same time.
Yeah, I think before we move on to Titans, and sorry, Titans, we'll get to you in a second. Really cool exotic. I do want to talk about Gambler's Dodge. In the last TWID, we talked about a bunch of abilities changes, exotic tuning, that kind of stuff. And we saw some chatter
I'm
around
a
Gambler's
marksman
Dodge. It was
dodge.
updated and reworked, right?
Yeah, we have reworked Gambler's Dodge. So it's the energy you get when you dodge. It now scales on your melee stat, but you no longer have to dodge near enemies to get that energy. So
that's
I can
good.
dodge anywhere in the game. I don't have to worry about
Good.
this invisible circle that's around me to know if I'm close enough. It is going to
There
feel
we-
more consistent.
now we're
If I
talking.
build
That's
into melee,
good.
it's gonna feel
That
more
is a good little
powerful.
thing.
And there's also, Taylor, you were talking about the multiple charges, right?
So if you, like our bar for a lot of this stuff is if you are at 70 stat, you'll get the full refund like you used to. But if you go beyond that, you'll actually get a little bit more, which most of the time doesn't matter. But like if you're using like a Phidias Spathe or any of the multi-melee things or Stasis Shurikens, it'll go up to like 1 1/3 charges. So you can keep that going even better if you're fully invested in melee. So you have like more reasons like to invest in it. If you want more melees, you want them to be more damaging, then you just go all in on that, and it will still do
like
stuff.
just so many shurikens.
Yeah.
Just an embarrassment of shurikens.
Which is great. Like
Freeze everything in front of you. right?
exactly.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then I won't be bothering you and saying, "Don't kill this thing. Let me do my dodge."
Yeah,
anytime.
you can just do it wherever you want.
So yeah, let's go on to Titans. So this one thematically, I think, for me at least, I'm just like, you're a Forge Master.
Yeah. So this is Melis Panoplia, which is an exotic
Hard name to say.
Yeah.
As we get deeper into Destiny, the names
Like,
get a little.
These
but go ahead.
these exotics are so boring. I won't be using them. I will not be using these. Wait a minute. And I just thought about too, these updates that they're coming to the sandbox, these are all sandbox updates, so they're going to be free. You need to be talking a bit more about the paid content, showing us the content that we're supposed to be paying for.
Yeah, it's an exotic theme.
this is
around
important,
something
too.
that people have been asking for a
Whatever.
long time, which is kind of the fantasy of
Whatever.
Thor's
Let him-
hammer.
let him speak, man.
I want to be able to pull my hammer back to me after I throw it. So there's like a little minigame loop here where you get a fire sprite, and you pick it up, then you get a buff that lets you pull the hammer back to you. And if you pull the hammer back with good timing, it'll explode and do like solar shrapnel and hit stuff for like extra damage on the way back. Kind of like how Hammer Saw works, and I think the hammer also will damage things.
What I'm seeing is that you can't use this in the stasis, though, can you? Like, just like with the Hunter, I was like, oh, you got to be full on strand. And this one, you got to be full into the solar for this. You can't use this with the stasis or prismatic. You can't use this with prismatic.
Like, send it back through.
So I meant to say.
Back, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've wanted to do this for a long time, but it's been kind of a scary...
Complicated.
Yeah, it's hard to balance this sort of thing where it's like it returns all your energy, but it also, you can pull it back to you at any time. So Alex, our designer, really knocked it out of the park as far as...
it came out so well.
The balance and the activator and the...
Performance.
Yeah, the performance.
Yeah. You were talking about the animation, right?
Yeah.
Before this.
I love the performance on this thing. We've got like this beat where it's like all this magnetic like handshaking and it feels so good. We actually did like a new tech thing on this where if you're like looking off to the side, we kind of move the player's hand a little bit so you're like still kind of actually pulling the hammer. And that's like the first time we've done that with like a world object, and it's very cool. It feels really good.
Awesome.
It's super satisfying.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to be getting into some more gameplay and an actual activity in a minute. But before we go, I do want to ask for stats. And actually, two things. With your exotics, there are going to be gear bonuses that you can build on top of, correct? and that's a new Armor 3.0 feature.
Yeah, so gear bonuses when a new armor set drops. If you have 2 or more pieces from that armor set, you will get an additional perk. If you have 4 or more pieces from that armor set, you will get another perk on top of that. So I could take 2 pieces from one set, 2 pieces from another set, and then an exotic. And I have like more perks than I've ever had before on my Guardian. And it's really.
But I thought you needed 4 to get the extra.
To expand your build crafting in new ways.
Yeah, I think we have an example of this in the
More
build
of the
right
same.
now. Gameplay specialist could inspect an armor piece. You can see, here's some of the destination armor bonuses that you can get.
Destination armor bonus.
2 pieces, we have
He
4
just said it. Yeah, destination armor bonus. See, like all of this stuff is only. I don't know, man.
Further, at 4 pieces, we have a reactive booster. And
destination armor bonus.
I was just gonna say, like, so yeah, these are unique to the armor set itself. Something more than just like cosmetics that you might want out of these.
Gives you another reason to like go to a specific place and pursue a specific armor set besides just fashion. Although fashion is still very important.
You can still use your armor synthesis and put the looks on these.
Yeah, and I mean, we also get to make perks that are like, I'm the this guy, you know, because you're investing so heavily in the 4-piece perk. But what's really cool about this is like, I think this is going to be very cool at live when we like launch. But I think in like 2, releases or whatever, just a little bit in the future, we're going to see people go like, hey, remember that armor that I got?
Like something from 2 seasons ago.
Right, the 2-piece perk from Kepler is really cool with whatever, and we're really excited about that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and then the second piece of this
so we're going to be collecting new armor, all this other stuff, but they're not increasing our vault space. Why aren't you increasing our vault spaces? You expect us to hang on to this junk for a couple of seasons while you're not increasing the vault space? All right, keep watching. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. We're halfway in the video, but yeah, keep watching.
It's going to be for the stats rework.
Not prove me wrong, but just whatever.
As well,
I do not feel good about this. I don't feel good about this.
So fragments still can adjust your stats up or down depending on your build, and some of these, because we've deprecated some of our.
This is way too stat heavy. It really is, and just I don't know. This presentation is just not fun for me to watch.
Perks or
at all.
Stats rather. Some of these are new. Like we're gonna have, some of these will have weapon stat, which never have happened before, which just opens up new build crafting avenues. We're gonna kind of wait and see how this lands, how the dust settles for all of the stat stuff before we
wait till the dust settles
and adjust these further. But yeah, I think
nerfs
players have
are coming.
Lot of different ways to build out their stats and become the grenade master, the weapon master, and whatever they want to do.
So quick shout out, Dark Slifer, Childish CG, and Snivvyland for those last 2 questions. They actually asked them ahead of time. Feel free to keep dropping questions in chat. I'm glancing down here every so often. Now it is time to move on and let's talk about some new stuff. Vivian, you have been very excited about a new weapon archetype that is coming with the Edge of Fate.
I sure am. So for centuries, humanity has wondered, like, what would a legendary bow look like in the heavy slot? And today I have your answer. For Edge of Fate, we are building a crossbow. It plays like a new archetype, but it is technically a bow for the purposes of, like, it's gonna fill all your bounties, that kind of stuff. Now, so when we went to go make this, we knew it was like, a very cool fantasy, right? We want the feeling of like really drawing it back and it hitting a single target and doing a ton of damage. But we do have linear fusion rifles, right? And that's always the question, is like, what does this do that's different? What's the fun gameplay here? And we settled on, well, when you shoot that big heavy bolt and it hits your target, you can just go pick it back up. So this thing theoretically is a heavy weapon with unlimited ammo. You can use the same bolt for an entire Nightfall if you want. I would love to see someone do that. Go clear a dungeon without ever using anything else or whatever, It's very cool. You have to put yourself in danger, you have to go grab it, but it's just such a satisfying loop to just like pull it out of some, dead hive, just put it in the rail, pull it back, use the same bolt to shoot someone else. It's great.
I saw in last week in a PvP playtest, I saw someone run the entire map with a single bolt.
Yeah.
And they just kept it alive for minutes on end.
That was me. I'm sorry.
I can hear the PvP mans like when you said infinite heavy ammo. They're like, "Excuse me,"
Yeah,
but it's like you gotta go.
You
pick
gotta
that
go
thing up.
get it. Yeah. So it's not free, but it is very potent.
Yeah. And in PvP, you only get the one. You got to get the headshot, and it's very funny. It ends up.
Oh
being
yeah,
this
you
game
got to
of,
get the
like, keep
headshot.
away, where you're like, we cannot let Taylor get near this thing.
So as we're going into this activity, we'll get some gameplay footage. This is a good example of the portal system that we'll be talking about next week on July 1st. Make sure to tune in. But we're going to be taking some content from just the history of Destiny, and it will be in the portal to go in and play. Power progression, we'll be talking about that next week, so stay tuned for that.
Next week.
Vivian, back to the heavy crossbow, though. You were talking about this being legendary, so that means random rolls, and you had mentioned bolts.
Yes, yeah. So we had a really fun opportunity when we were making this, where we go to the talent grid, and we always want to make stuff kind of like new and different. And we got to the talent grid, and we were like, this thing does not have a magazine. We cannot put magazines on this, right? And it gave us the opportunity to like really go, what would like a different magazine plug system look like? And so what we ended up going for is like, we have bolt types, and the bolt types, instead of just being stats, they're going to alter the way the bolt actually behaves out in the world.
Yeah.
So we've got, one of them is like explosive bolt, where it's gonna put in a target, it'll like beep, 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 and it'll just explode, kind of like a grenade launcher. And then we have, my personal favorite is that we have serrated bolts. I remembered to say the shipping name this time.
Oh, you can say, if it doesn't have bolts. 3 names, it's not real game dev.
Yeah. I never know when things go live. I never know. I'm like, oh, you guys know better than I do the names.
Go ahead.
But so we have serrated bolts, and you can put like the bolt in a target with serrated bolts, and you can normally draw them back out of living targets, but if you have serrated bolts, they're gonna deal damage on the exit too. And it is so satisfying to like land the final hit with the pull, and you just pull back your bolts and you get them, and they just go flying.
I'll take that back. Yeah. When you first brought this up, I was just like, that's so metal. Like, gimme.
It's something.
Really quick, just on the topic of ammo, there are new ammo meters. Bjorn, we were going to talk about this in the firing range, shooting range. But we actually have some live gameplay where we can see these meters.
I like that a lot.
Can you talk us through what is this new system? How does it work?
Yeah, so there's been a pretty big shakeup in the way that ammo works in the game, where in the past it wasn't really anything.
You never know. You never knew.
Over, but now it is something that you have like a lot of control over and a lot of build crafting hooks to optimize or like make your own. And it almost like kind of works like an ability or.
I am 100% gonna be build crafting towards. I'm gonna be making armor. I have to make a PvP class that generates that heavy ammo finding.
Like a super does now, where it lives.
That way I can just run around with a machine gun.
You see there below weapons on kills and assists with anything that'll tick up, and then when you hit full, the next kill will drop you a brick of that type. So. There's a lot of things you can do now that you can build into to like have a lot more control over the pacing of when you're getting that.
Sweet.
And like there's a bunch of armor mods that exist now that like pretty much all the things that used to be finders or inventory now fit into.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna use that bow in PvP. That not the bow. I'm sorry, the crossbow. Nope.
Players have a lot of different ways to kind of build around that, depending on like, if you have a really ammo-hungry special weapon, then you have some options now to actually make that easier to feed.
And we'll be talking about this in depth in a future Twitter blog, so stay tuned for that, especially PvP heads. I've already seen conversation from our content creator videos going out. But before we get out of combat, I do want to talk about, alongside the new weapon archetype of the crossbow, we have some new weapon frames coming to the game.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So. Let's start with the hand cannon.
All right, yeah. So we have the spread shot hand cannon. It's like a big, chunky, beefy hand cannon that fires shotgun pellets. Very close range, hard hitting, 2-tap PvP. I'm a little afraid of that, but
but
I'm sure it'll be great.
Right?
Yeah, it's very limited. It's like a sidearm, like big punchy sidearm, but like even less range than a sidearm. but like less precision reliant.
This thing has become my baby in
Yeah.
PvP. I love this thing.
It's pretty great.
It's kind of like having like a sawed-off
Yeah.
that's like a primary ammo, and it is just so good if you play aggressive or you use like other abilities to hit people.
It's
or
really
just
good
want
as like a
to
mixer in between other stuff.
Right, and that's exactly how I play. So I love this thing.
And second, so shout out to Sammy Cat, resident bow lover. She does full solo dungeons.
Lane Monarch all day.
Only. We have a new bow frame that's going to be
Wish
coming.
Ender.
Yeah, so we made a longbow,
Close second.
which is like a big, heavy war bow. Even
Long
slower
bows.
draw than precisions, but more damage, and it has
That's a combat bow.
intrinsic overpenetration. So if you line up a bunch of thrall and you like hip fire a full draw, it'll just go straight through all of them with one shot.
That's kind of
I
cool.
love that our damage numbers have been squished a little bit, so they actually mean something now. Because if you look at how much damage this bow is doing compared to like each one of those pellets in the hand cannon.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when like in the live game where it's like I did 20,000 damage with that shot. I was like,
Yeah,
the
it's
numbers
hard to compare.
Yeah, start to be
Right.
meaningless. But for me, we've just changed so much, and I can't overstate like how.
Man.
Yeah, how much has changed and how this game is I guess evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those changes are like, they go hand in hand, right? Like us changing the stats around, you know, us making new builds possible. A lot of these changes are all
Damn, those
they're all
ogres
going
got
to
shields
kinda
on 'em.
combine to create something new.
Yeah. Did you see that front shield?
Never seen that.
Oh boy.
With the,
Yeah, I just
we have
saw
to do,
that.
We'll talk about this next week.
Yeah.
But
Like,
the
damn, that ogre had a
new
fucking shield on
Banes,
it.
Are incredible. I'm very excited for players.
Oh boy. Yeah.
play with.
New banes, new modifiers, all that kind of stuff. And then the final weapon.
I hate. This is another thing that pushed me away from Destiny was the too much of the modifiers in the champion. Like I said this before, I'll say it again. The introduction of the champions and the modifiers that are like I'll never forget. There was a time I came back briefly, and then like it was with something I was doing with Bran Halen, and I was like, sure, I'll do this mission or whatever, and like. We sat there for like 30 minutes before the mission, just trying to get everything that I needed so I could do this. And right then and there, I was like, bro, this is, I don't want to. That really just took a lot of it out of me, just having to do that much bullshit just to work around these modifiers, these manufactured obstructions you're putting in our way, this friction that you're creating. I'm not a fan of the modifiers, man, and the champions. I want those to go, actually.
When we got on tap is going to be a special weapon, another burst, shoots explosives.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So I know
Mint
a lot of people who are
retrograde.
big fans of rocket-assisted sidearms. Now we have a rocket-assisted frame pulse rifle. So that fits a similar role, but a little bit different. It's a little more ammo hungry than the sidearms.
Ammo
Got
hungry.
a bit more range and hits a bit harder. So it kind of fits in between like a fusion rifle and a sniper rifle. Also kind of fires a little bit differently than pulse rifles, which is interesting just because like all of our pulse rifles have like different burst delay, but when you're firing each pulse, they all have like the same rate of fire. So this, instead of being like the brr, it's like a bop bop bop. So it feels heavier and it's firing these like big, slower projectiles, so it feels chunkier.
Thank you for doing a Dave Samuel impression there.
I aspire to greatness.
Yeah.
This thing is like real cool. It's real
Who the fuck
heavy,
is Dave
but
Samuel?
it's also like, you know, like we said, it's like pretty ammo hungry. One of the cool things about 900 is like we have the ammo stat, you know, you can build into that. You can eliminate that downside, and now you can see it working.
Yeah, same for the longbow
It's just making us have to like rebuild and all this other stuff.
too. Like
I wouldn't mind it so much, but they should have given us the vault space now.
there were some perks on the random rolls that you can go in, less than the draw time. Like sure, it's still going to be a little bit slow fiery.
So I know they're gonna be
but
adding it
there's a
later
bunch of
on
ways that
for
you can build,
Renegades,
craft, and
right?
tune these things to feel good for your play.
Like you have like one for all or other things that can be affecting multiple targets.
Yeah, right. So as we're going through this transition, we actually have a bunch more to cover, and gear tiering has been top of mind for a lot of players ever since our reveal stream. So Eric, I'd love to dive in and just revisit what's the high-level vision statement for gear tiering and how we're.
I didn't know you could
players
jump after
reinvesting
this
some of
swing
that.
like
Yeah,
that.
so gear tiering enables players to look at a piece of gear at a glance and like understand how powerful it is. So you can see those kind of 5 icons or 5 little dots there. This is a 5th tier.
Oh, I see it.
armor
I was
piece
like, I didn't see it. I see it.
And the stat package or the stat pool that each piece gives is going to depend on the tier. So you can see at tier 1, is going to drop between 52 and 57 stat totals. And then at tier 5, you are guaranteed.
Do you hear him? Like, just hearing him again. Hey, what's up, Sham? How you doing? Again, just hearing him have to explain this. It is just so unfun to listen to, man.
75 stats.
Happy Wednesday, brother.
Which lets you kind of add some.
Yeah, shout out to, there were a bunch of folks that were asking, what are stat bands? Because in the game right now, it's what is low to a given player. Like 62 feels low, but an actual definition is like 58 or lower.
Yeah.
In the game now, we have UI that tells you exactly what are the stat bands for each of the tiers, so you know what you're looking for as you're trying to build to 200 or 150 or whatever you're looking for.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I love that we did this because this is the most common question I get in my clan that I answer, and I love that you could just go see it now.
Yeah, having information in the game is great. I think the biggest thing about this is that because the bands are a lot narrower, you have a much better expectation of what you're getting like before you even start the activity. So, like I know a lot of people like you go into a master dungeon to farm some artifice armor, and you don't know if you're going to get like 55 or 70. Yeah, it's like an extremely wide range. So like that takes a lot of time and effort to get through. So now it's just like you're going into like the toppest end difficulty thing to get tier 5s. You know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
So it's significantly more likely that when you get your drop, it's going to be something valuable. It might not be valuable to your exact build, but it will be valuable. It'll be the stats total that you want.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, and with the new portal system, which we'll talk about next week, you're going to have a score goal that you want to hit to get that exact armor piece, and it's like more targeted farming or more targeted. If I want to chase a certain thing, like I know what I have to do to get it, and when it drops, I know what it's going to give me as far as the total value.
This is not fun,
and
man.
It's just much more.
They are just. This is just woof.
Clear and exciting. So.
And go ahead.
I really like, we're mousing over here, the armor archetype. We now like display what things are going to be high on it and what things are going to be low. And they're like a little further apart where things are going to be spikier now. And so like, if you want to really max out stats, you can just look for that, emblem. You'll know what your armor is kind of like going to be good at. And it's
you can see that like at your main inventory level too. So you're just like mousing over like, oh, I just got a bunch of drops. What did I get? Cool. Is it gunner? Is it grenadier?
Right.
Like, what is the thing that I want? You can use that as like a quick reference rather than needing to go all the way into inspection and see like the exact stats.
And the last detail on tier 5 for armor, we mentioned this in the reveal stream, but you can get to 11 energy for your armor. So it helps with build crafting. You can get more of those armor mods slotted and that kind of stuff.
It goes to 11 now.
Yeah, right.
Crank it.
So switching over to weapons, though, I would love to. We have some examples of tier 1, tier 3, and tier 5 weapons to show what is that progression looking like.
Yeah, similarly, when a weapon drops, I'm able to just glance at it and be like, oh, tier 1 weapon. It's going to have base stats. It's going to have a limited perk pool there. But then you can see at tier 3, we now have 2 enhanced traits. We have some of our columns are going to have more perk options in them. And then tier 5, so this is a tier 3. And then tier 5 is going to have even more. Like look at the options here, and so much enhancement and
I'm getting mine too.
Enhanced, weapon mods too.
I gotta be honest with you, they're not doing a good job of selling me on this. This is not looking like a very fun experience, but I'm still getting it because I love the game. But this looks like this ain't. I don't know, man. There's a lot of I don't know, bro.
Right.
Yeah, kind of like how armor.
That's right, Corey. How you doing, man?
It's like you have a much.
This does not look good.
Understanding of like when I'm starting an activity.
No, it's not trash. It's just a game that's just always changing and going through phases. But this game is not trash. This is the only live service, one of the few live service games to last a decade and still be relevant. I call it far from trash. I am certainly allowed to get frustrated with it and be critical, but I can't go that route saying it's trash. I'm not looking forward to getting rid of my armor. I don't even know if I want to or not, but it sucks just because I'm gonna have to now, for the sake of the vault space. But I have more guns than armor in there. I'm gonna have to probably get rid of a lot of guns anyway. Watch this guy play 26-year-old game, and it was more popular than D2 online. What was the game? The 26-year-old game?
Of things they're getting.
Counter-Strike.
This like the multi-perk and the enhanced perks kind of work for that too. So the odds of you getting that like specific god roll or multi-god roll, if you're looking for like the combo PvP, PvE weapon, we're a lot higher than like in past activities where you're just getting, okay, I'm going to get one adept with one.
Oh, EverQuest?
Yeah. And
I know EverQuest. Yeah. I've actually sold EverQuest back when I was working at Best Buy in the media department. I've sold EverQuest. Yep.
We're adding a lot of depth. Like as we were hovering over those enhanced perks, they have additional things that they can do, whether it be stats or power for the perk. We're putting all of these details into the game so people know as they're getting into this depth, they can hover over these things, understand all the different stats.
So many fucking
blog components. We'll have some guides that our players make, our creators make. We'll blast those out, but we're hoping to bring more of these sorts of things into the game to make it easier to understand. So,
yeah, that said, if you have a great weapon drop that, dropped this season or 5 seasons ago, if it's a good roll, it's a good roll. Like it's, just because it doesn't necessarily adhere to the tier system doesn't mean it is not equal or greater value in some cases.
There was this really funny reference that Mactix made.
So with him saying that you can still find use out of your old guns, they should have added the vault space.
Where he had this beautiful giant sword, and he's like, this is what I got today, and it has perfect rolls for a rocket launcher, et cetera, et cetera. And here's my new tier 1 weapon that doesn't really have good perks. Like, what are you going to use?
Yeah.
So to answer the question, Shadow on Blue Sky was asking, are my weapons that I have right now or armor, like, is that going to be viable in high-end content? And the answer is, of course. There are going to be a couple things in here that add incentive to try out new things, but Vivian, you had kind of framed it as a cherry on top, right?
Right. Yeah, and it's also like a way to, in the past, sometimes like the best way to get your path to power.
Oh my God.
Was, like, to do a lot of something, but now if you like do really hard activities as well, we're also just kind of rewarding you for the time there.
Yeah. So right at the
talk
9.
about future gear stuff.
It's gonna be plummeted.
Yeah. We will in a second, but I just wanted to touch on right at the 9. Some folks were asking like, what do these equate to in the tier system?
This is such a boring show.
Right at the 9 weapon, both of your columns are enhanced, all that kind of stuff. Like it looks like
putting
a tier
me to
3.
sleep.
It's going to feel like a tier 3 for a while. So there is a good handshake as you're going into Edge of Fate. But yeah, the last thing for Tier 5 gear, I would like to show the cosmetic treatment that we've been doing. We showed this in the reveal stream, but Tier 5s have an awesome new shader treatment and also kill effects.
Yeah, so
kill effect.
Basically on the weapons, they'll come with like fancy shader on it, and then something almost kind of similar to what we do with Sweaty Confetti, but now it's like a specific slot where it gets a custom kill effect.
With what guns?
It comes on the Tier 5 variant.
Yeah, and you can see with gear tiering, it's kind of learning a bunch of lessons through the years of Destiny. Like, kill effects are really cool. Players like this. Now we have a new slot for it. Players really like hollow foils as a chase in the game right now, and now we have Tier 5s where you get sort of a hollow foil style treatment for it. So it's been really cool to watch y'all develop this over time. But to your point, this actually is a good segue into the next section where we're talking about new and featured gear and our artifact. So
the kill
Eric,
effects.
if you want to take the stage,
why don't you show the kill effects?
Yeah, so our new gear, when we drop new weapons and armor for a season or for a release, that is going to get a bonus. It's going to be a little bit stronger than your other options. So on the
show us the Nedra DLC.
Armor side, you are going to get a damage resistance bonus per piece you have equipped, and that is, it kind of scales by gear tier. So if I have 5 tier 1 armor pieces, I'm going to have 5% damage resistance against everything. 5%. If I have 5 tier 5 gear pieces, I'm gonna have 15% damage versus everything. So so it is.
He said, even he was confused. He's like, so it's like, yeah, like he was for a second kind of confused about that. Man.
Allows me to
show us the skin. 2 styles, ball the dreadhead, easy.
No, it's a very small amount. It's a min-max sort of situation.
The dreads.
Where if I wanted to wear stuff that is not in the new gear pool, Like, I am not at a huge detriment.
Right.
But
something that gives you like that little bit of edge to like inch out into like the highest tier stuff when you like really need just a little bit more health or a little bit more damage.
Yeah, speaking of damage, so you can see that the max is actually 10%. This is a clarification.
When they're saying the highest tier stuff, are they referring to like master level things or raids or dungeons? What exactly?
We invited some folks into the studio to look through all of this. The original number was 15%. It's actually 10% on your additional damage when you get all your tier 5 weapons equipped. So again, cherry on top, where it kind of gives you that edge. And also it gives you a way, kind of like in earlier releases.
How'd it go?
You walk out into the tower
It's a
and you're
fun
wearing all
dungeon.
your raid gear. You're kind of like peacocking, as y'all have framed it.
A
And
fun
now it's,
dungeon,
oh,
that
hey,
was.
I have all tier 5.
It's a good one. I
This
like
shows,
that one.
Not only have I mastered this content, but I've learned a bunch of really
Yeah.
cool stuff, gotten all the gear I want, and now I can carry my team through. So, when it comes to the new gear as well, is there? What's the way that you identify that as a player?
yeah, so if you see that little kind of teal icon in the top left corner of the armor piece, that is going to that's going to tell me that it is in the new gear pool. So it's not only gear from this season or release, but it is also gear.
Drunken
it's
dungeon.
Like a collection of exotic pieces as well.
Yeah,
So-
if we hop into the collections really quick, there's actually a new section that's going to show.
I want to do the dungeon that gives you the cowboy hat,
Here's our featured gear. So if you have
the Cogburn.
some things from previous releases, those are going to be a part of the building or build crafting as well.
Correct.
A note for any newer
What's
players
that?
or
Let me
returning
know.
players,
Tell me.
Some of these things are actually like you can go to Xur, try to grab those. You can go
Xur.
into Ride of the Nine. Emissary is going to have a few things like Graviton Lance. That's a great thing to pick
Yes.
up before this new
Dark and
release
light
starts,
modes,
so that
yes.
you have a little bit of an edge going in.
Yeah, if y'all screenshot this, you can start
Yeah.
hunting this stuff down right now, right?
Yeah, and we will have follow-up blogs where we're going to go line by line. I understand, like, this stream has a lot of data. It has a lot of numbers, that kind of stuff. Big lists of gear. We'll have a full bulleted list, not just in TWIDs, but in patch notes as we keep going. So I think with that, we can go into the artifact as well.
Cool.
Yeah, so the artifact this time around, we're going and we're exploring Kepler. So kind of going with that theme is we wanted this to be kind of like, scout the wild frontier.
I'm still, I don't know, I'm not sold on this, but I'm still interested. Now, I am looking forward to it, but I'm not sold on it.
And so to that end,
You was carrying the team. What was your set? What were you running? What guns did you have?
it's kind of
That's what's up.
a little longer range weapon-wise than some of our recent artifacts. One of the other themes that we wanted to get was like.
Did you ever get malfeasance? Corey, did you ever get malfeasance? Malfeasance, it's a hand cannon, exotic. Oh man, that's so clutch for that because that's like double the damage against anything that's taken. That's such a good ass gun. I always use that in Gambit or the Prophecy Dungeon.
This is gonna be like me and my fire team, So if you're scouting
such a good
solo,
gun.
we have stuff for solo. If you're scouting as a group, we have stuff as a group. Then lastly is like.
Did you get anything good out of that?
Like a little more weapons focus than we maybe normally do, because we wanted to kind of like highlight that kind of like the Guardians kit, kind of down to earth, kind of like thing. Some of my favorite perks in these in the fifth column. There's that first one.
I love
is
I love the name.
Shrapnel. And this is gonna add like an additive shrapnel burst when you're killing guys when they're radiant or when you're radiant or they are scorched. And I actually really like that, we pay out Scorched a little, because sometimes you can't quite get that ignition,
So that's going to pair really well with the Warlock exotic coming out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You can scorch a bunch of guys, and then you can cause them to alt burst. It's
Got
very
them
cool.
guns, man.
The fourth one in this column also is a favorite of mine.
Okay.
It's Tangled Web. And
Is
this
it
going to
rap?
suspend everyone when you generate a tangle via combat. And normally we do that effect, we reserve that effect for breaking the tangle, right? And now it's like on creation, and it leads to a very fun situation where you can just kind of walk up and take it, and you're like, thank you guys, I'll be back. And they can't do anything, and it kind of gets you there faster if you're not using like grapple grenade or something.
It works really well with the Hunter exotic.
It also works really well with the Hunter exotic. It's lots of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, so there's a question.
That is a they or a them is what they prefer to be called, Corey. Yeah. But yeah, is that, yeah, that's, or yeah, some of you are saying, yeah, it could be I'm trying to be nice, man. I really am, okay? Like, I'm trying. They, bitch, you ain't more than one person. Ain't that the truth? You know, I feel like they say they, them because they have the person. Is it because they have a man and a woman inside of them? They're taking on two genders. So I guess maybe that's why they say they, right? Yeah, I'm trying to be nice today, man. Like, there was just something about me this week or this past few days where I was like, bro, like, sometimes just chill on like being obnoxious. You know what I mean? And just I'll be honest. I did say it earlier too in the stream. Like I said it at first, and I had to correct myself. I was like, I'm sorry, they them. But yeah. I'm trying to like. And of course, you guys are free to say whatever you want. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm with you there. But I part of me wants to try to do like a small little 1% improvement, 5% improvement, a little nip and tuck here and there. I'm not looking to overhaul anything. I'm not looking to do anything like that or change what I troll or what I make fun of or anything like that. But it's a small little nip tucks. Take those moments where I'm like, whatever. Yeah, that's a trans person, but we've been making fun of trans people for years. We already know. They know. I mean, I'm not. First, you got to be popular to get canceled too. I'm not popular, so who's gonna cancel me? All right, back to the show.
Question.
We got
from
5
v
minutes left. We got 5 minutes left of this madness.
Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, asking, are there going to be more seasonal mods? And with the artifact, you can see next major update, there's going to be another row, as people know. With the featured gear, there's also going to be added
that is true.
exotics to the pool. And Bjorn, I believe we are also making some new seasonal mods that'll be released over time, correct?
Yeah, kind of the same way that we did last season, where we
forgot he was there.
Like Taken Doom set of weapon mods.
Bjorn.
The same thing for
He's been so quiet.
Theme that you can find those out as they come.
He's been so quiet.
All right. Well, wow.
Oh, my brother. Thank you for the subby. Oh, my gosh. Dude, thank you. Truly, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Holy smokes, my friend. Thank you, dude. Realized I wasn't subbed. Why, God bless you. Thank you for that. Holy smokes. Thank you so much. I don't know why it does that twice, by the way. I need to look into that. See why it, actually, I think I do know exactly why it does that. I'll look into that later on, but thank you. Once again, I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you so much, man. I don't think I've ever paid for a sub on your stream. LOL, Prime has been clutching. That's the way I am with a lot of other people, too. Like, I was like that with Frisky for a while, and nowadays, I just throw my Prime at PCB or Jimmy's place as well. He had a cooking stream the other day. It was pretty dope. But yeah, he gifted over 5 and definitely sent over 1,000. Dude, you're a godsend. Truly, thank you for that. No, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for that. Truly, all this time, all these years, thank you, dude. Thank you. It's on your stream. I don't even know how to look at that. How do I look at that? In the dashboard somewhere? Let's finish this video, okay? Because I want to upload this to YouTube, and I want to upload it with as few interruptions as possible. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Once again, thank you, Corey. I appreciate it, homie. Thank you. We're going to look into that. Yes, I remember E-Reach was popping off that morning. That was a crazy day, dude. Yeah, he was hella drunk. I'll never forget that. Those were some fun times, weren't they? Holy smokes.
We are at the end of the stream. Thank you so much for joining us on the couch. Everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us during this live stream to see what we have to offer. We do have another live stream next Tuesday, July 1st, same time, same place, different cast. Sorry, I'll invite you back soon. But we're going to be talking Portal power progression. So what are you playing? How are you earning things? How are you getting up to these tier 5s? And also, how are you customizing your experience in the Portal with
You're
new
awesome,
banes,
brother.
new modifiers,
Thank
all
you
that kind of
again.
stuff. Just because this is information heavy, as I mentioned, we do have a slate of blog content that'll be coming live. We'll have a recap on Thursday. We have a standalone next Wednesday that'll talk a little bit more about gear tiering. Next Thursday, we'll also have another recap for that stream and additional sandbox information. And then we keep marching into launch with more patch note previews, gear previews, all that kind of stuff. So,
did he just say the next week's show is going to be more information as well? Why are we having so many shows before this releases? I remembered before the other ones, it was just you got like one thing and then you get a trailer and that's it. And then boom, you sit there and you fucking wait. They're having media shows, events every week leading up to why?
So outside of the full suite of gear you'll be earning on Kepler, bunch of stuff to discover. So thank you so much again for joining. This has been a fun stream.
Dude,
and,
thank you, Corey. That really means a lot hearing you say that. And we like Kai Cenat, where everybody loves Kai Cenat.
Leave, we're going to toss you over to our good friend Fallout. He's going to be talking through a bunch of what we said today. He was one of the creators that we invited to Bungie with hands-on, so he can explain some things. And we'll be collecting questions throughout the rest of the day to answer in the Twit. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Okay, so that is the Bungie show. It was okay. I don't feel very good about this. I've been saying it throughout the event. I do not feel good about this. They didn't show us anything new. Like there was no new guns. They didn't show us. All they kept showing on Kepler was just them turning into the matter ball and like controlling the environment. They didn't show. There's no new enemies. There's no new ability. Like there's no new powers that you can take outside of Kepler as well too. 3-hour stream today, 3 to 4, somewhere between there. I'm shooting for 4, but it'll probably be more like a 3.5, 3:45. It's my turn to cook tonight, so that's why. Any new subclasses? No. All they have is the ability that you can shapeshift and mold to the environment, but that only works when you're on Kepler. And so there's a whole nother thing of like abilities that you have to manage that only affect while you're there on Kepler. And then on top of that, you're still managing what you have on the outside. It's a terrible idea. He said this week was heavy information. Next week is going to be the same thing as well, too. And this fucking DLC is coming out in like... He's coming out in like 2 to 3 weeks. You see, and you're trying to do a couple more. Man, get out of here, bro. Yeah, what the fuck is going on with the witness and all of that? Holy hell, dude! Like, I don't know, man. They've got. I got a bad feeling about this. I really do, man. I really do. I got a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about all this, dude. I just don't. I don't know, man. I just don't fucking know, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like this at all, man. Just not impressed. I'm not impressed. Overall, I would give this probably... I would give it a 3 out of 10. Easily a 3 out of 10. They didn't show any good guns. There's only the exotics. Those are exotics that I don't plan on using. They don't look like they I don't play like that, the way that those exotics want you to play. So I have no interest in the exotics. I have no interest in the heavy crossbow either, especially considering that Vivian did state that it still takes, you only get one bolt, and to kill somebody in one shot, it has to be a headshot. I just don't see that being worth it. I would much rather have a rocket or a machine gun or something like that. You can literally only just kill one person with that. And on top of that, you have to be accurate too. It just doesn't seem like a very useful thing in the PvP. The PvP and PvE, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it. And also they're adding a whole bunch of puzzles too. I'm just not feeling the puzzles either. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Glaives, I don't care about glaives. This doesn't look good.